In this video we go through a great comparison with this one, with the Sony RX100 V, iPhone X, GoPro Hero 5, the GH5, okay? The ones that's up there. I will compare these 5 cameras. And is this the perfect vlogging camera? We will have a few episodes here where I will walk from a bad lit room out to a well lit room and to outside. So we'll see how well it compares to each other. This is the DJI Osmo Action going through a room with not much lighting, out to a room with good lighting, and out to the middle of the sun. So how does this look? Sharp? Not sharp? This is the GH5 with like 8 to 18 millimeter, which is a wide angle lens. And this is how it looks with this one. Clearer, sharper? I hope so, because this is a $3,000 setup. This is the GoPro Hero 5. I do think that this is worse off. It's an older camera. And this is the iPhone X. iPhone X. It's really hard to have a good frame here, since we have pretty much a prime lens on this camera. So there is a high probability of me framing this wrong. So this is the same shot on a Sony RX100 V, going through a bad lit room to a good lit room to outside. How does this look? Sharp? Not sharp? And this is also kind of like a prime lens, so you will get much closer view of my face. Yeah, so that's different. Okay, so I will do some more thorough testing now. I will take a hike. I will show you a few instances where the wide angle doesn't matter, because that is a nice thing with this camera. If you would compare this to like a point and shoot, is that you get a wide angle lens, but it is a fixed lens though, so you can only use it in one way, and that's wide. And if you're gonna use it as a main camera, I think that is annoying. Like, you will get dizzy if everything you're looking at is wide. Wide. You need to have some shots that is mixing it up, or else you're gonna get bored. But you know, this is an iPhone, and I would say that the wide angle lens is a much better vlogging camera than your iPhone, because now you will get much closer view of my face, and it won't cut off the wind as good as the Osmo Action. The Osmo Action actually cuts out the wind really well. When I was out running yesterday, we had some pretty harsh winds sometimes, and it does a really good job at that. This is a much better vlogging fit, so now I'm comfortable. Now I'm at a comfy distance of the camera. Okay, hold up. I do think the Osmo Action cuts the wind better than the iPhone X, but in this instance it started to get maybe 3 times more windy, as you can see down by the trees and so forth, that it is a lot more windy when I turn on the Osmo Action. The iPhone X does cut the wind out as well, but the Osmo Action, in my opinion, does it a little bit better. This won't look annoying for the viewer. I will be on a good distance from the viewer. And now it's pretty windy, so we'll see how good the camera cuts this out. This is definitely much better than only having a phone. And once again, reference is the GoPro Hero 5. You're seeing now GoPro Hero 5. And this is a Sony RX100 V. As you can see, we're getting pretty close as with the iPhone, but I do think that we get a much better image here. We get it much clearer, much sharper. So which one looks best? Which one? Which one? That's an RX100 Mark V, that's a GoPro Hero 5, that's an Osmo RX100 Mark V, that's a GoPro Hero 5, that's an Osmo Action, there's the that's an Osmo Action, there's the GH5 with the 8 to 18 millimeter with an ND8 and PL filter from Polar Pro, and that's an iPhone X. All PL filter from Polar Pro, and that's an iPhone X. So that's a $900 camera. That's a $250 $900 camera. That's a $250 3-year-old action camera. That's a $250 3-year-old action camera. That's a $350 action camera. $50 action camera. That's a $3,000 Pro camera. And that's an camera. That's a $3,000 Pro camera. And that's an $900 phone. So I'm trying a time-lapse with the iPhone, the GH5 and the Osmo Action. I was trying to set up a time-lapse on this RX100 Mark V as well, but the software in these Sonys are so bad. I gave up after like 2-3 minutes, since I haven't used the time-lapse app on this camera for about 12 months, something like that. But I do think that this image is great. I think it yields a great image for this size of a camera. It's easy to transport and so forth. And also, it's not a fixed lens, so you can take some different kind of shots. You can go here, you can do some zooming and, you know, get some variety in your shots. That is trickier when you only have like a pretty wide angle lens on the Osmo camera. Here we go. Here we go. So, what's the verdict? How good is the Osmo Action camera? How good is this little piece of Chinese hardware? Huh? It's really, really good. The things I like about it, this is the most stable cam in the business. Stable as a motherfucker. The GoPro Hero 7, which I unfortunately do not have in my possession. If I would have the GoPro Hero 7 in my possession, I wouldn't buy this one. Does it look like I'm made of money? If you would compare all the videos out there reviewing these cameras and comparing it to the Hero 7, it's clear that this has a better stabilizer. It's a more quick camera. You can feel that both in the software and also the ability to switch between low light and sunlight. It switches really good when you go from outside to inside, outside to inside. It does that really well. Battery life is great. It's really great. Being able to use all your GoPro accessories is really great. Once upon a time I thought about buying a Sony camera, but you know, the headache of buying another type of design of an action camera, and you have like 12 accessories laying around. You have a chest mount, 3-4 different tripods, handlebar mount, motorcycle, bike, on your steering wheel, everywhere. You know, changing between that, it's not something I would do lightly. So being able to use all your mounts, really handy. The menus are more intuitive than GoPros. It's easier to find all the different options you have on the Osmo Action. It doesn't feel like you have that many options, and I really like to being able to quickly switch between shooting modes. Switch to HR shooting, time-lapse. And another proof of that, I took a time-lapse up there before, and it was the first time I set up a time-lapse on this camera, and I did it like really easily. So they made that more intuitive. They definitely have. And it's fast, and it obviously has a front-facing screen, which is cool and comes in handy sometimes, you know. A lot of times, I don't know. What I don't like, when you've used the front-facing camera, when you're running or filming yourself and you want to take one shot, then you put the camera off and then you're gonna take another shot, it won't remember that you used the front-facing camera last, so when you're gonna put it on record, once again, you're gonna have to switch to the front-facing screen once more, and that's a bit of a headache, and I wish that it should remember your option, and it does, but it only remembers it for so long. So let's say you took a shot and then you pause the camera and turn it off for like 15-20, and then you're gonna take another shot. It will remember your option last then, and it will automatically go into the front-facing screen. But if you wait for like a minute or 2 or 5 or 10, which you usually do between shots, it won't remember that you used the front-facing screen last. So you have to put the camera on, change the screen, which is a bit of a headache. I wish that it would remember that you used the front-facing screen lastly. Another thing that I don't like about this camera is that when you do a quick record like here, and it goes on recording, then when you turn off the recording, it won't go off. It goes to a point where it's still on, and that is bad. I've only used this for a week, but when I'm out biking and I have this on my chest, I use it all the time when I like push it on, push it off, push it on, push it off, and I feel really comfortable in knowing that when I have the GoPro here, I turn this on, loud clear sound, no problem, and it's recording, and then when I'm done with the recording, I press this and you get that sound, and then you know it's off, everything's cool, I'm saving my battery for, I don't know, better occasions, I don't know. It feels good that you're in control of the camera. As with this camera, you have to put this on. Now it's on, and then I have to put it off. And it's still on. You have two options, right? Either you have to wait for the camera to turn off, or you have to hold this for 2-3 seconds. And you get that sound. That is not good, and it should be an easy thing to do. So should you buy a DJI Osmo Action for your main vlogging camera? I think not. And I think that because it's not a good setup to only shoot these wide angle shots that you get with this camera, I would say that you will be better off laying your money on like a Canon G7X Mark II or a Sony RX100 Mark V, Mark IV maybe. So you get a whole lot of camera for these $350. You really get a whole lot of camera with that. But if you would have to choose one camera to use all the time, I would recommend you going with a point and shoot instead, because they get more native shots, they get more realistic shots, and gets more personal. Doesn't get that personal with this type of camera. It's a really good camera to have in between your shots and with the action movements when you're out swimming, doing fast stuff. Just being able to do some more interesting views, this is a great camera, but in order to have it all the time, I don't think it's an ideal setup. You will be better off with a point and shoot. You will be getting a more professional image, and you will be able to use it in more situations. You don't want to be vlogging at your desk with this all the time. It's not a good setup. Point and shoot is a better way to go for your first vlogging camera, or your cell phone. You have more normal lenses with these ones. It won't get that wide, and as a viewer you can't take that wideness too much. That's the problem. That's my verdict. I've also made an example vlog, so I leave a link to that vlog down below where you can see me only using the Osmo Action to do a weekly vlog episode. Okay, so that's it for this review. Thank you for watching. If you're new to this channel, I never do camera reviews actually. This is my first camera review. I do some Final Cut Pro X tutorials, and I do Swedish vlogs, and I also do some book reviews. So write a comment down below, like the video if you thought it was helpful. If not, write a dislike, and you write some hateful comment, you can do that as well. But you have a great day and good luck with your life in creating stuff. This place is so beautiful. Man, so beautiful. Even Volvo did a commercial here. Not did a commercial. They did a commercial shoot down there. It's nice. I'm gonna get down here. Fuck.